What is up, dudes and lady dudes? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we've got our very first video of 2021. Hopefully this will kick us off strong heading into the new year. I want the new year to be the best year for the channel yet, so thank you so much for supporting me up until this point, and hopefully we'll be able to just climb higher and higher as we go. But today, I want to do something cool, which is something I do every once in a while, but this one, specific for the new year, is I want to talk about, I think I have 7 different decks on here that, more so than any other decks, I would love to see get legitimate support in 2021. Konami's been on the train of just giving a ton of support to older archetypes that have already been around for a while, and these are the ones that I think, not just for me, make a lot of sense, like what I want. There are some, some personal ones in here for me, but there are also ones I think, like, as far as the player base goes, would be absolute hits if Konami made good support for those archetypes that actually allowed them to, keep pace with the current, form of the game and actually be able to compete. So I don't want to waste too much more time setting everything up. Let's jump into number one. Number one, we have Geargias. This one just makes sense to me. It fits into this one category I've kind of talked a lot about as far as archetypes and like why they deserve support. One, it's cool, it's cute, it's a very different design wise, at least as far as the artwork goes. 2, it's machine. There's already a lot of other machine things. But the big thing here is that this at one point was one of the better decks in the game. This was a deck that was a competitively viable deck during its heyday. And so I think what that makes for like a cluster of players that'll be like, oh man, I remember when I used to love Geargias. That was my first format playing competitively, my first deck I played. Actually competitively, and so I think you'll have people that just really like it, and yeah. Now, as far as the support goes, I mean, this deck really doesn't have much of a win condition on its own. It can kind of make some exceeds. It has cards that are actually decent, like Arsenal right here just tributes itself to special summon a Geargia straight from the deck. So if they got another Geargia that just if they got a new one that just maybe when it's summoned or just has a main phase effect that's insanely strong, this card's just insane consistency, being able to get to that card much easier. There are other ones that are just extenders, like they special themselves, or curable ones that just get you like a summon back from grave of a Geargia monster. So there's a lot of extendability. The deck just doesn't really have any inherent powerful disruption. So I think the deck would want a boss monster more than anything that it could actually rely on and go into, and hopefully allow you to, slow down what your opponent's going to be trying to do. But yeah, Geargias, number 1. Number 2 is Ninjas. This is one of the ones that are a little bit more personal to me, and I know we got Ninjas. I slowly talk about Ninjas every once in a while, and then I forget now that Shadows of Valhalla is over 2 years old now, I think. So I'm just oh man, Ninjas need support. I don't know. It just makes so much sense. We got Yellow Ninja and Yellow Dragon Ninja in the last wave of support. We also already have Blue Dragon Ninja, White Dragon Ninja, Red Dragon Ninja. That's just 3 ninja monsters they could make, because they don't have a regular ninja version of those. They just have the Dragon Ninja variants, right? So that would be an easy way for them to just crank out multiple ninja cards. I think ninjas are always cool. They're that awesome warrior archetype. They've been pretty good at certain points in the history of the game and stuff. But Konami's just got to say, you know what, this is something everybody is going to think is cool. So let's go out and just make some new ninja cards. So they just need extenders at the end of the day, because they got the new Link monster that's pretty good. They have a decent disruption in Shadow Ceiling, but they probably would appreciate one more actual good disruptive card, whether it's a monster, like a boss monster, or whether it's a another trap or something. The traps are super easy to get a hold of between Hanzo and the Link monster. You can search them out so easily. That's not a problem. So I'd love to see a little bit more disruption for them, and then some extendability, just because you always want to end the Link monster with at least one other ninja on field, and with the cards you have access to right now, you don't do that super consistently. So I think some good ninja extenders would be really helpful. Preferably keep them level 4, that way you can still make exceed plays and stuff. if need be. But, you know, at the end of the day, we wouldn't complain because the Link 2 only requires ninjas. So as long as it's still a ninja, I would be fine with it. But yeah, ninja's number 2. That's more of a personal one, but I still think they need, I don't know. I'd love to see more support for them. They just don't have enough. They have some really cool cards, but just not enough. All right. Next up is Aliens. This is one that very recently I've talked about in a video because in the progression series that I do once a week, usually on Sundays with my friend Chris on his Twitch stream, we've been doing our own progression series, and recently I had swapped onto an alien strategy in there. It just recently actually provided me with actual dividends, so awesome. And it's honestly pretty cool. I mean, like, obviously a lot of counter-based strategies don't really pan out, but I do think Aliens have a lot of cool cards that actually, when you read them, you're like, oh, that actually could be part of, like, if they made really strong new support for Aliens, these could be crucial cards in the strategy because they're actually decent. They have, like, the quick play spell. It's like one of their newest support cards, still a couple years old now, but it's like it sends an alien to then disperse counters up to that alien's level, so you can immediately just off of that card disperse like 5 or 6 counters if you want. Usually it'll be 3 or 4, which is still a good amount. So you also get the Foolish Burial alien that way, and then on the next standby phase you can like banish it to like, does it search another alien, or it searches a card with like a counter in the text or something like that, which is kind of crazy. So it's a search card later on. It's an extender / way to put counters on the field. It's a really nasty card. You also have stuff like Alien Dog. He just jumps out of the hand so easily. All you have to do is normal and Alien. He jumps out of the hand and puts counters on the field. So, you know, they have a handful of cards. They have the Link Monster. It's not insane, but it's not terrible. And we're getting a new reptile archetype in the next deck build pack, so maybe that generically could support aliens. I'm not entirely sure, but we will see. I don't know. I think it's just, I always like their designs. I just want to see them actually get the kind of support that would actually make them super interesting, and then see where they can go from there. But that's up to Konami, of course. So yeah, number 3 is Aliens. Moving on to number 4, we have Weather Painters. This is one of my, I love this archetype aesthetically. I think like all the cards are like so beautiful. I love the artwork for them. I love the style of the artwork. The color palette on these cards is like so awesome to me, because it's like literally like somebody like watercolor like painted these cards, at least like with the colors that are used in the artwork themselves. But other than that, the strategy is also really cool. It's a very unique strategy where the monsters gain effects from the spells and traps depending on the kind of column they're in, and they always banish themselves for cost, and then they'll come back on the next standby phase. So very, very cool. They have a couple monsters that are like really good. Snow and Thunder, like the really good cards. The biggest problem for this deck, again, is lack of a win condition. They have a boss monster, but it's a Link 3, and it's a Link 3 that does nothing unless you can make him with 1 or 2 other Weather Painters underneath of him. And most turns you can only summon 2 monsters. Like most turns you're only summoning 2 monsters per turn. And so I think the problem there is that like you're just going to end up with like you'd have to summon 2 monsters, banish them, and then get 2 more monsters on the next turn. And then I guess technically you could make the boss monster then, but even then I don't know if I'd feel safe enough in making it with just 1 like tribute like card to be able to negate something. And it's just not enough for me. So the deck needs like a better win condition, just a faster win condition. I know the deck's designed to be kind of slow, but this is too slow. You know what I mean? Like this deck's not even that old. It came out with Magical Musketeers, and look at Magical Musketeers. They've got some tops to some events. I believe they've topped YCSs. They've topped a ton of regionals and like PPG events and stuff. But Weather Painters haven't really done anything. So I'd love to see a couple new Weather Painter cards that really help revamp the deck up. Maybe a main deck boss monster that's pretty easy to summon or something. That would be really cool. But yeah, other than that, yeah, Weather Painters just need a little more speed, a little more oomph behind them. But other than that, they're not terrible. Definitely not. So Weather Painters number, what was that? Are you 4 or are you 5? You're 1, 2, 3, you're 4. Okay. So moving on to number 5 is Spellbooks. This is one of those that it's like Geargios, but just like take it up an extra level, right? This is a deck that in its heyday, again, was I believe the best deck in the game for a little bit, or at least like considered one of the best decks in the game, like tier 1 at some point. A lot of people love this deck. I mean, a lot of people like Sky Strikers, people that love those control formats. This is the kind of deck that they like fall in love with. It's one of their ultimate favorite ones. So I think you just combine the fact that it's an older competitive deck, right? So people get to relive those glory days, but on another scale, on a modern day scale, but with the same, with a lot of the same old cards they used to like, you know and love. But also combined with the fact that this deck's just lovable, like design-wise. People love spellcasters. People love that idea of like you have the spellcasters and they're casting spells by using these books. Like, oh, it's really, really cool. And we've had more lore come out with like the Magistus archetypes and stuff like that, which is really cool. So I'd love to see a couple new spellbook cards. I just think it's one of those decks that's like, if tomorrow got revealed that like Lightning Overdrive's gonna have 5 new spellbook cards, I think that would like get a lot of people amped for Lightning Overdrive, assuming the cards are like decent support. Again, as far as this archetype goes in terms of what I'd want for the support, I guess I'd want better monsters. I mean, I think as far as playability goes, in 2020, Blue Boy might be the only legit good spellbook monster that we have from the old one. So I think they might need a couple more monsters to be able to like put on the field and feel confident about, like not being just there to die. And so I think that would be the biggest thing. The spells are honestly still pretty clean. Like Spellbook of Fate's still really strong. You have insane searchability in the deck. Maybe I guarantee you, if they were going to make some spellbook cards, they'd probably throw in 1 or 2 new spellbook spells. But I'm totally cool with that, as long as they get paired with a couple new monsters as well. So Spellbooks number 5. I think this one would be a hit. Number 6, you guys know this one. I've preached this one to the heavens. I've screamed this one all over the channel over the last couple of years. Teller Knights need support. If Konami made support, I think Teller Knights would be a hit. It's like the same vein as Spellbooks, okay? In their heyday, one of the best decks in the game. Design-wise, they're warriors. They're like space galactic warriors. That is so cool. You know, a lot of people love the designs of these cards. So I think aesthetically, people will love them. Or just do love them. Nostalgia-wise, people love them because this is a lot of people's like favorite deck, definitely, or one of their older favorite decks. And it's a deck that has pretty strong stuff already. I mean, all the monsters are pretty decent. You've got a Stratos monster. You've got a monster that reborns another monster, so pretty good extender. You've got an insane boss monster. You've got a couple of spells and traps that are actually good, but I think I'd love to see somehow Konami make a card that makes those spells and traps much more searchable, because playing them as hard copies isn't the greatest in the deck. So I'd love to see them connect those two parts of the deck together, searchability wise, and go from there. But yeah, I think Teller Knights would just be a hit, man. Oh man, I just think they made like 5 cards, like 2 monsters, maybe another extra deck monster just cause, and then like another spell or trap or something. Like, woo! Ooh, I'd love it. I love it. I think it's the same thing as Spellbooks. It has all the strong points of why the just if 5 like Teller Knight cards got revealed tomorrow, it would like immediately make whatever set they're coming in like double hype for so many people. So I think that would be huge. Which takes us to our final deck that I would love to see get support in 2020. Magnet Warriors. I mean, if you think you're tired of me saying that Teller Knights need support, how about Magnet Warriors, man? I keep saying it over and over and over again. It's the biggest thing. There's a couple things here, okay? This deck was done so dirty. If you guys don't know the history of this like support, like the support for Magnet Warriors, ABCs and Magnet Warriors got their structure decks at the exact same time, right? It was like a Kaiba one and a Yugi one. Kaiba's one was immediately considered like a meta contender, and Magnet Warriors never did anything competitive. Oh, they just and they still have some cool cards in them that like all the Magnet Warriors are kind of like help you search and stuff, and the boss monster's fine. I think they would need another variant of a boss monster to like actually do things to make that work, but it's not the worst there. But yeah, I think so. Konami's been going through and making all these like past structure decks like redone, right? They're redoing the Dragoonity structure deck to make more of those cards. They did Shadal's redone. They did the Warriors. whatever the warrior one is, where we got Immortal Phoenix Gearfried. That was in the OCG, but you still get the new cards regardless, so that's what's important. If they made a redone version of the Magnet Warrior structure deck with like 5 to 7 new Magnet Warrior cards, and it actually made them like a decent rogue deck, I would play that deck all the time. I'm telling you that right now. I love the designs. This is Yugi cards, by the way. That's like the biggest thing. Like, they could throw this in a legendary duelist pack, and they could just say like, oh, Yugi's one of the duelists we're supporting here. You're like, oh, Dark Magician? No, you've gotten too much Dark Magician. How about Magnet Warriors, baby? And put 5, 6, 7 new cards for Magnet Warriors. Actually make them a decent like rogue strategy, and I would love it. I would love it so much. So yeah, those are my 5 decks that I would love to see get supported in 2020. Hopefully you guys agree. If not, let me know in the comment section down below. This is just my personal list, what I'd love to see in 2020. Let me know your list down below if you have a couple changes, what you'd like to see. I tried to pick things that haven't gotten support super recently. Like this structure deck's like years old now. No Foreteller Knights, no Spellbooks got their 1 Link monster, like what? Link Vrains pack 1 or 2, I think. I don't think it was 3. So, but that's the only card they've gotten other than that. And this deck itself can't even put 2 spellcasters on the field in 1 turn consistently, which is crazy. Weather Painters, they got the 1 Trap as a support card a while ago, but again, I think that's almost 2 years old now, and it didn't do enough to speed the deck up, so definitely wanted to see more there. Aliens got their 1 Link monster, and I'm not even sure it's good. Ninjas, like I said, Shadows of Valhalla was like over 2 years ago now, and Gigas haven't seen any support in a long ass time. So that's gonna do it for me here, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, thank you for sticking with me through 2020. Hopefully 2021 will be even better for us. I've got a lot of plans. I'm going to be moving soon, so I'll be able to get actually situated and not have to record videos in my room. Well, it will be my room, but not the room I sleep in. It'll actually be like a separate room specifically for videos, so it'll look a little nicer for the videos. Hopefully I'll be able to start streaming once that gets up and running, and I'm very excited for that. So thank you. I love you guys. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.